Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Vlogmas. In today's video, I'm gonna bring you guys along with me as I make my literal favorite dip in the entire world, the green goddess dip. I think it was originally made on TikTok by Baked by Melissa, but a lot of people since then have like done their own little renditions on it. I don't use a recipe anymore because I make it so often. I just kind of go with what feels right to me, and it literally turns out so amazing. So I'm gonna show you guys how I make it. And the green dip lasts for like at least a week in the fridge, and it tastes better and better the longer it sits because like all the flavors marinate. And you can eat it on its own. You can eat it on top of just like plain lettuce. You can eat it with tortilla chips, which is my favorite way to do it, or you can eat it like on top of cucumber slices. It's literally so versatile. It's so good. So let's just get started. So I've gathered all the supplies out that we need to make this recipe. There is a lot of chopping involved in this recipe, so I got my knife and cutting board ready to go. It makes a big batch, so got my big old bowl to put the dip in. We make the sauce in the blender just to make it easier. And then for greens, I use spinach, cilantro, green onion, green cabbage, a jalapeno, a shallot, an English cucumber, and a little bit of lemon. And then the items in the sauce are cashews, garlic, rice wine vinegar, olive oil, and some salt. That's everything you need to make the dip. Some of the greens that we chop for the actual like content of the dip also go into the sauce. So let's start by chopping some greens, and then we'll split them between the bowl for the dip and the blender for the sauce. Alrighty, so the first green that goes in the dip and also in the sauce is the green onions. And basically you are gonna chop these as finely as you can do chopping. I feel like this is a really good recipe to practice your chopping skills because you will get a lot of practice in. First, I'm gonna wash these greens off. So you wash your greens nice and good. We are just gonna chop the bottom to the top. And a way I found to chop really easily is holding your knife by the actual blade. It helps you have more control over the knife and you can get those finer chops in. The closer you get to the top, the softer the green onions are. I actually use these top portions in the sauce. The rest of the green onions here, I'm gonna do one more quick fine chop because this is going into the dip. And like, I'm a green onion girly, but I don't want like a huge chunk of green onion in one bite, if you know what I mean. So just doing a super fine chop of all of these green onions. And once these are chopped to your liking, you're gonna put them into your bowl. Next up, we're gonna do some of the cilantro. All of the cilantro just goes in the sauce. So basically, I'm gonna cut off most of the stem and then just throw the leaves into the sauce. Kind of like so. All of this is going in here. I am a cilantro girly. I love the taste of cilantro, but if you're one of those people who have the gene where cilantro tastes like soap, or if you just don't like cilantro, feel free to omit any of the ingredients. I'm sure it will still taste fine. Next up, we're gonna chop up the jalapeno. I like to do half of the jalapeno in the dip and half of it in the sauce because I do like that really spicy, crunchy taste of the whole jalapeno, and then you can also add the spice into the sauce. I like to keep most of the seeds, but if you don't like it as spicy, you can get rid of some of the seeds from the jalapeno because that's really where the spice is. And a lot of the seeds, make sure they're in the sauce and blend it up because there's nothing worse than getting like a jalapeno seed stuck between your teeth. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it is not fun. A bit of this jalapeno just to throw directly into the blender, and then the rest of it I'm just gonna finely chop and we are gonna put them into the dip. Now that those are chopped, we're just gonna throw them right into the bowl. Alrighty, the last two ingredients that only go into the dip are the cucumber and the cabbage, so we'll start with that. You are supposed to get an English cucumber. If you can't find one, that's okay. It'll just be like a little bit more watery. English cucumbers have less of the like seeds and watery stuff in the middle of the cucumber, so that's just the only reason why they recommend doing that. I've made it with regular cucumbers, English cucumbers. Tastes good either way. You just make it a more watery texture of your dip. I feel like making this dip in the winter is so good too, because it's hard to get like your greens in the winter because there's not as many like good vegetables in season. So having this dip around for like the week you make it is like so nice because you are getting more than enough vegetables in. And it's freaking delicious. And it's better than just like having a salad for every meal every day. Like that gets old after a while. So this is definitely a really good alternative to still get greens in. Alrighty, that's finally chopped enough for me. If you want it smaller, you definitely can go for it. Throwing all these into the bowl. Last ingredient that's only going into the dip is the cabbage. I do a half a head of cabbage per batch of this dip because otherwise it is way too cabbagey. So I'm just gonna chop this cabbage in half and we will cut it up. I cut the cabbage kind of like how you would cut an onion. So you cut slices up this way and then you'll cut the cross sections here and then they'll be pretty small pieces. Cabbage. You want a bite? Okay, cabbage is all cut up. As you can see, I probably could use a bigger cutting board, but we're gonna make it work. This is such a mess. Okay, cleanup break. Okay, all the greens are finely chopped and put into this bowl, so I'm just gonna mix them up a little bit. But as you can see, it is definitely mostly cabbage, which is why I only use half of one. Okay, now let's finish up the sauce. The last thing we really have to chop is a shallot. And I use the whole shallot in there, but this is kind of a big one, so I might just put half. Oh, I'm just gonna chop it into a couple pieces so that the blender has an easier time chopping it. And I'm just gonna throw all of those into the sauce. Oops. You need some lemon juice, and we have fresh lemon, so I'm gonna use that, but you really don't need to. You just do like the bottled lemon juice, but I'm just gonna squeeze some of that in there. Okay, let's throw the rest of the ingredients that we need in the sauce. So you throw some cashews in. I feel like the cashews are just good to add like a richer, cheesier flavor. So I'm gonna do like 2 handfuls. I forgot to get the nutritional yeast out earlier, but I also add some of this in. I feel like nutritional yeast just adds like a cheesy flavor to anything. So adds a little something, something. Then I'm gonna do just a splash of rice wine vinegar. And then I'm gonna do quite a few glugs of olive oil. And then I'm a garlic girly. This dip is not to give you a good breath, guys. So I'm gonna do like 2 big spoonfuls of garlic in here. And then I'm gonna throw quite a bit of salt in. And then the last ingredient is a whole lot of spinach. So I'm gonna shove literally as much in here as I possibly can. And then after I blend it for a little bit, I can add more spinach. But let's just do the first blend. So I gave it a pretty good mix, and now I'm just gonna use a spoon to push down everything, give it one more mix, and then I will add more spinach. Okay, pretty well blended now. I'm gonna push it all down one more time, add some spinach, and then the sauce will probably be done. But I am gonna taste it and see if there's like any little tweaks I need to make. Okay, I shoved like the whole thing full of spinach again. Okay, I feel like that has to have been for long enough. So let's give it a little try and see if there's anything else we need to add in. So I'm gonna add in a tiny bit more rice vinegar and a little bit of salt. And while we're at it, I may add in a few more cashews as well. Just gonna do a whole nother handful. Hopefully this is the last mix. Okay, let's try it one last time. I also let this last one blend for quite a while because I want it to be super smooth. But let's try it out. Much better. All right, perfect. I am gonna take these plates out. Alrighty, and then the last step is just to throw the sauce in with the greens. Okay, here it is. Let's just mix her all up. Alrighty, it is done. I'm so excited to try it. Like I said, my favorite way to eat this is on tortilla chips. So that's what we're gonna do. So I like to take a little bit of the dip, and then I'll add a little bit of flaky salt. That is literally so good. You also don't have to do the flaky salt, I just like it. Anyways, you guys, that was me making the Baked by Melissa Green Goddess dip. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you should try making the dip yourself. It's literally so good. I'm obsessed with it and it's so healthy. So yeah. Anyways, if you liked today's video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for the next Vlogmas video. Bye guys, Illy.